Okay, since this scenario is more complicated than anyone anticipated, let's discuss what is actually happening with Beyonce and Jay Z. There are rumors, recordings, and federal prosecutors. Names are being called out here. Additionally, B&J is reportedly not only in the mix. They might be the next big thing on the hit list. Let's go back a little. After Diddy's trial, things really started to heat up. Gained momentum, we're talking about shocking court records, recording leaks, and testimonies that rocked the business. However, the most outrageous aspect is that prosecutors are not the only ones who are concerned, purportedly getting ready to fire some of his closest colleagues. Names that are equally important, and it seems like Jay Z and Beyonce are at the top of that list. Diddy is being set up by Jay Z. He isn't acting any differently. This is not only conjecture. According to sources, Beyonce has already canceled a few of her future tour dates and is seriously thinking of quitting VANISH. It's not on vacation. With Jay, this resembles a calculated escape more. Rumor has it that, just in case, they intend to pull a Russell Simmons and disappear to a nation without an extradition treaty. Obtain legal status. People used to believe that Jay Z was the one attending Diddy's wild parties, while Beyonce was only a bystander. However, it appears that she was also involved. There is discussion that she knew about the freak-off lifestyle and accepted it, but she wasn't only a passive observer. Additionally, both of them are reportedly attempting to flee before the prosecutor's arrival. Fire gets too near. This is when things become even more hazy. Prior to all of this chaos, Jay and Diddy were quite close. And Jay was one of the few people who could address Diddy by his given name. Sean Diddy's mother was the other. That's inner circle status, not just a casual friendship. Jay and Beyonce hosted Diddy at their yearly Rock Nation brunch, demonstrating their public relationship. Dude was everywhere on their site that year. Diddy was abruptly cut off from society once the Cassie case ended. But this didn't stop others from placing two fingers on him. And two in tandem. Rapper Deeb shared a story that made people take notice. He said that in 2020, he received an invitation to an extremely secret party at Diddy's house in Los Angeles. And you know who else was among the few other individuals in the room? Jay Z and Beyonce. It sounded like an exclusive elite party because of the baby. However, the atmosphere he described did emit a lot of energy, and that's when the online detectives' puzzles began to come together. Here's what's really crazy. There is some really dubious history about Jay Z that people are finally beginning to discuss. Approximately once again, he was alleged to have dated Foxy Brown when she was only 15 years old. Jay Z put a lot of effort into changing the story of Tasma. And we all know I've been exploring the story of Dasma. That we all know I've been exploring that path. That people are finally beginning to discuss. Approximately when we are a proverb to be tabbled, a cobbly to see CDS. A probably a guazes to comqui see seen. I do CCC with concod. I see if we see with Kamalis at that, we see with Kankani at one of Kanri, I see with Kanor up, I say, I can you see with Kanisa to like I, we see we buy sif they we the like to Kano we can you with you could do, so to get you to tear, I could do, cause I did it to you to with the I with it for I with I to you take to the cat I the cock with you wick to I cat kiki cat cabalik and you that kind of I fleet up if you got I think I eat a fish fleet I eat it I have to touch it with you guys you will deal with that which has always been surrounded by murmurs. But the major twist was that when challenged, his former business partner, Dame Dash, didn't deny it. In fact, during an interview, Dame seemed so uneasy that he essentially urged the interviewer to go ask Jay. He didn't want to be the one verifying anything on camera, so he answered straight. When you combine it with Jay's well-known partnerships with R. Kelly, folks began to see an unsettling trend. He is the acceptable, the last time I sat on this couch, it was a monster like R. Kelly. Jay collaborated with R. Kelly on an entire album and even went on tour with him. And when Dame was questioned about why he cut ties with Jay, Hess stated unequivocally that it was because Jay never separated from R. Kelly. That is significant. Therefore, when people claim that Jay is just another Diddy, they may have a point. The narrative is made much more bizarre by the Beyonce link. And we have only just begun. On the red carpet, Jay Z and Beyonce's relationship has always been perfect. They exude power couple enthusiasm, meticulously staged photos as like they were the untouchable royals of the music industry. But in reality, it appears to be more of a high-stakes commercial deal than a romantic fairy tale. And now that their identities are circulating in court, people are learning more about how this all began. Additionally, Jay has always had a disturbing tendency. Strong, seasoned older ladies who are always attracted to young, up-and-coming women just starting out in the field following the hush money rumors surrounding the Foxy Brown case. The next personalia was the center of attention. After R. Kelly's dubious marriage to Aaliyah was made public, Jay reportedly began making advances on her. He would give her flowers and invite her to events attempted to win her over in a way that only a business magnate can. But Aaliyah refused, allegedly showing greater interest in Dame Dash, Jay's then business partner. The manner insiders explain it. It nearly seemed like a crazy ego game, with Jay and R. Kelly engaging in twisted rivalry over Aaliyah. I now urge you to consider Mary J. Blige Free and 106 Park. Who is Sean Carter's victim? Yes, Mary J. Blige, a victim of Shaw Combs, is sitting there discussing Aaliyah's passing and the terrible moment she perished in that plane disaster. Rumors circulated that it was anything but an accident. Some even said that she was coerced into getting on the plane against her will and drugged without her permission. Whether it was a conspiracy or not, it made people wonder who had a role. In what transpired with that chapter ended, Jay turned his attention to Beyonce, who was reportedly still learning the ropes in the industry despite being young and extremely brilliant. Having a busy personal life as a child, Beyonce only had one boyfriend in high school, but her family, particularly her mother, was highly active in her career and made decisions for her at every stage, and she has very little dating experience. Thus, it was a wrap when Jay arrived, attractive, well-established, and strong. In one interview, Jay claimed to have met Beyonce when she was barely 16, but waited for her to reach 18 before formally pursuing her. But according to others close to her, he already had her under his control by the time she was legal. It was a deliberate dynamic that wasn't fair. He was the gatekeeper and she looked up to him. Once he gained access, he took over her music, image, schedule, and even personal freedom. This leads us to Uncle Ron. Beyonce's ex-bodyguard has gone viral after disclosing some personal information. He openly asserted that Jay had Beyonce addicted to drugs in order to keep her under control, ensured that she remained reliant and didn't ask too many questions. It's a terrifying reiteration of Cassie's accusations that Diddy used addiction to keep her trapped in a poisonous world. Manipulation. People close to Beyonce claim that she has been frantically attempting to flee. She is tired of Jay, her team, and even her own mother controlling her all the time. According to reports, she feels like she was shaped into a brand from the start and has never had a life of her own. Now that everything is going apart, she is at her breaking point. According to some, she's been making covert preparations to eventually sever relations and simply disappear. She has been discussing sadness and feeling helpless and stuck. According to one insider, she has even had serious considerations about putting a stop to everything. She doesn't see a way out, not because she wants to. And now that the inquiry is getting more intense, she might not have much time to make that move. Every action is being monitored by the internet. Beyonce and Jay Z's relationship isn't going well. Once supporting fans are now challenging them. Why and to what extent were they truly associated with Diddy? When you go into their background, a lot of unsettling patterns emerge. More importantly, why are they now so quiet? People quickly began to piece things together. The tales began to queue up. people began to question how many additional people were involved. How many celebs were aware of what was happening, kept quiet and behind closed doors since it was advantageous to them. The names of Jay and Ba were already making the rounds in the gossip mill, but now they're also being spoken in legal circles. That's every different degree of risk. Additionally, there is a rising internet movement calling for their legal and social accountability. Others are requesting that their passports be flagged, want inquiries to be started right away. The worst aspect is that this time, fans are speaking out rather than simply detractors. Former fans of Beyonce are now expressing sentiments such as she never looked free, she's been attempting to flee for years. We fail to see the indications. Jay's history is coming back to haunt him. Previous interviews, court records, and colleagues, everything is coming back to life. Additionally, Dame Dash's refusal to accept Fife, you fall or remain silent. More dirt can fall. At any time. This isn't a gossip situation. No longer it concerns a collapsing Meyer one, which established its reputation on silence, skill, and power. However, quiet does not provide you with permanent protection. Additionally, with the heat is rising, therefore it's no surprise that they're attempting to disappear. Will is the question. Will the truth catch up with them, or will they succeed? Prior to their departure for